So welcome to our 2024. Wow, it's 2024. Our 2024 webinar. I believe this is the first one of the year. So we're going to start you off nice and slow and easy this year. We're gonna just roll into it. And this first one of the year, we're going to be talking about using live data and using data in general from Power BI in your other Microsoft 365 apps. Why you want to do it, what's the advantage, how do you do it, what are the hurdles? We're going to go through all of that today. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some introductions. Then we're going to talk about what are we talking about when we say O365 apps, what can be connected, what can't be connected, things you may not have thought about, the different ways these things connect, etc. Then I'm going to do a demo of them. And in the demo today, I'm going to show you connections to PowerPoint, connections to Excel, connections to SharePoint, connections to Teams, all these sorts of things. And we'll finish up with our Senturus overview and additional resources, and then we will move into the Q&A. Again, I want to stress that this is a nice, easy one to ease you into 2024, and we should have plenty of time at the end for some questions if needed, and to talk about what's on the plate for this year. There's lots of exciting things on the plate. Okay? As always, you think we're just going to sit around and be boring? Never. For those of you who do not know me, there's me, Pat Bowers, BI consultant, trainer, data architect, all around pain in the, gosh golly. Things you need to know here. I'm coming up on my 30th year of data science, data analytics, data architecture. So I'm coming up on 30 years of data science, data analytics, data excitement. I am certified in all the tools: Cognos, Power BI, Tableau, SQL Server. Been doing this a very long time, many different clients, everything else. So please take advantage of this time and feel free to ask questions, okay? Before we get into the meat, we'd like to do our polls. We'd like to do one poll. Today's poll brought to you by Senturus. Which apps are you interested in integrating with Power BI? Okay, so we're giving you the options here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start that poll. While you're all answering the poll, if you would like to have a meeting with any of us after this, if you'd like to talk further with this, and I'll post this a couple of times, you can get on our calendars and we can schedule a 30-minute meeting. So that way you can talk more about this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the poll and we'll see what we've got here. No real shock or surprise. This is pretty evenly distributed here. Surprisingly, I'm a little surprised at how even it is. But what I figured would come in first is Excel. And sharing and integrating with Excel is very easy. You're going to see that today. It's going to be a nice, smooth transition for any of your users. Same thing with SharePoint. These are pretty straightforward. I think the PowerPoint one is possibly just underrated. I think that there may be, once you see what you can do here, you can maybe change your opinion on that. Teams and Power Automate, Power Apps, these are ones that are a little less as expected. And then other, I'm going to tell you what other might be today. So thank you all. Thank you all for replying. And let's get into this. Let's talk about this. Hopefully everybody's still doing okay. What we have to get past in some respect is static reporting, static screenshots, and static reporting in the sense of a single point of ingestion. You know, from a technical standpoint, most folks want to be able to use the Power BI app. You want to be able to go here, you want to be able to go here and have everybody access everything from here. That's what you want. But that doesn't work for everybody, does it? We also need to share and distribute these things. So how do we get it to everybody and make sure they're in tools that are comfortable for them? That's the important part here. Not everybody's comfortable navigating some of these other tools. We all sometimes are forced to use things like Teams, but we don't necessarily like it. They aren't necessarily the best, right? I mean, to be honest, they're not always the best way to try to do our job. So how do we get these things into the right people, the right tools? Okay. Plus, there is an issue with straight up static reports. Static reports are just that. There is absolutely nothing worse than spending all day Friday getting together the most perfect PowerPoint ever, and you've taken screenshots of a dozen different reports, okay? And you've put it into your fabulous PowerPoint presentation for an 8 a.m. Monday morning board meeting. And you get in there on Monday morning, and there's that one person. You start bringing things up, and Bob in the back. Bob has to come and say, we reran those reports over the weekend. Your data's all out of date. We've all been there, haven't we? We all know that feeling. We all know that feeling when Bob says, yeah, that data's all useless. That's important because our data changes, okay? Just because it's a weekend doesn't mean our data has stayed static. Our data's changed. But our tools that we're used to using, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, these are static tools in our mind. So how do we merge these two worlds? How do we merge this? Because remember, out-of-date reports, out-of-date business. You can't make good business decisions on something that's old. So of course the IT folks say, well, they could have logged in. They could have just logged into the service and seen it there. Come on. Donna and HR, their first thought is not to log into the service. Their first thought is to log into Excel, to log into SharePoint, and look at it there. Not everybody uses the same tools. On top of that, what about licensing issues? What about things that we have to worry about licensing, where we've got to give people access to premium workspaces, or we've got to have F64 capacities for things, okay? There's licensing issues. There's all sorts of stuff. There's security issues. So let's put this in something that works for everybody. Let's bring the data to the people. Let's not ask the people to come to the data. Because once you do this, you're going to open up new lines of discussion. The more people that are going to see things, the more eyes that you have, the more folks that are looking at everything. Now you've increased your adoption across the organization. We've been doing this for 20 plus years. And companies after company will say, hey, we love this. All of our finance folks use it, or all of our IT folks use it. But how do we get it to everybody else? We don't get any adoption because you're trying to give them a tool they aren't used to using. Okay? Adapting to them increases our adoption. It expands the audience. It gives you a wider breadth of interaction, which at the end of the day, everybody can make decisions faster and smarter because everybody's on the same page. Everybody's looking at the same things. Everybody is together. Okay? And I don't care how big or how small you are. In these days of remote work, in these days of distributed organizations, for everybody to be on the same page, on the same time, and the same data, that's business changing. And look, Microsoft makes it easy for us. That's the takeaway here. We're not talking about buying third-party applications and having to set things up. No, this is built in, gang. This is right at your fingertips today. You can start using this today, and you can use it in things that you're already comfortable with, things that you know. You all said in your poll response, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint. It's right there. It's stuff that you're using. It's stuff that you have access to. It's stuff that you probably already have licensing to, and it's ready to go. It's literally ready to go. But then there's the ones that you may not have thought about. Word, OneNote. You can also drop these same kind of reports and same kind of live data into these other apps, because as we've seen with Fabric, when we start having everything integrated, the same thing applies here. Everything is integrated. Everything talks to each other. It's not a challenge. So let's take advantage of that. All right. There are pros and cons. Not going to lie, there's pros and cons. First off, let's talk about the pros because, good news first. Immediate access to reporting in all tools. Boom. Everybody's seeing the same thing. Everybody's getting what you need. Everybody's getting it, and they can get it from anywhere. Again, think about your distributed businesses. Think about your remote employees. Think about time zone differences. Anywhere, anytime, any tool. At least a few of you have got to be thinking about how that would change things, about the number of emails that you could stop. Yes, exactly, Chris, without your help, right? Without those late night phone calls or those emails. Where's this? Where's that? Right there in front of you. Now, of course, there's going to be maintenance and IT concerns because now you're managing a larger suite. You're managing a bunch of different tools potentially. I mean, most of this gets managed under the O365 environment and under the admin screens, but you still have to worry about it. You still have to think about licensing. You still have to think about those kinds of costs and things. But a bigger issue falls on the report developers. And this is something I want to talk about for a second. It is, Nathan, it's always Donna from HR, and that's why we got to give it a tool that Donna likes. And Valentine, security is a concern. You're absolutely right. But here's a positive to think about. Because you're using one tool within a suite of tools, things like RLS and things like that become pass-through. It holds on to that. It carries that through. Because we're not saying use third-party tools to do this, right? We're saying use the built-in functionality, all of that underlying security, all of those underlying things, they're there. And that does take a little bit of the headache away. Of course, you have to worry about it. Of course, you have to test it. Of course, you have to make sure that everything's set right. And yeah, if we're giving access to reporting in all sorts of different tools, that's our burden. So there does become a new burden of sorts. It's a different burden, but there's still absolutely a burden on IT and more importantly on report developers. And that's a big one. I would wager, I know quite a number of the names of the folks on here today. And I know that you're report developers. I know that you're authors. I know that you're making this stuff that gets seen by people. Okay? You have to think about this. By the way, I'm hoping that you're all loving our new 2024 presentation format. I'm loving it. It's making me happy. Okay? It's so bright and alive, which given the weather for most of us outside, you need it. But look, you need to think about these things. Which tools? Do we want everybody working in Teams? Do we want everybody working in PowerPoint? Which tools? So when I go to build a report, how are folks going to be looking at this? Are they going to be looking at it in a Teams window? Are they going to be plugging it into SharePoint? Are they going to be putting it into a PowerPoint presentation? Because that in turn drives design discussions. Do I want 6 different visualizations on a single report page if everybody's going to be copying and pasting it into a PowerPoint presentation and then putting it on the screen at 1920 by 1080? How well is that going to translate? Then we've got report size issues, both the graphical size and the physical size. Any of you who've been to any of my presentations over the last 20 years know that one of the biggest challenges is using these tools for data dumps. These tools aren't meant to be data dump tools. Those aren't reports. When you have 10,000 rows on a page, it's not a report. When you're starting to transfer that and you're starting to put it into PowerPoint or you're starting to put it into Excel, okay, we got to keep that in mind. And then, of course, licensing and IT needs. We may end up needing another IT person if this is how we go. So we've got to think about best practices. We've got to think about our development aesthetics. It has a lot more meaning than it might have had in the past, okay? Because the way something looks is going to possibly be different. You know, Valentine, you're absolutely right. And think about it this way. If you have a beautiful summarized dashboard that you're dropping live into SharePoint, and so many organizations want people's homepage to be that SharePoint homepage. And if you've got a wonderful, summarized, well-designed, well-thought-out dashboard from your SharePoint page that links them to detailed reports into the service, you're scoring. Because not only are you letting them see their data quickly and letting them get to things now, you're also getting them to become more familiar with the service because you're linking and you're going off to it. Exactly. Well, you can actually embed, and we'll see it when we get there, but you've got an entire Power BI tab in Teams, not just the reports, but you've got a whole tab. And so again, yeah, giving it to them in a tool that's important, but that gets into this. That gets into licensing. That gets into sharing. That gets into security. From a technical standpoint, the things I'm going to show you today are easy, but it doesn't mean that they're simple in terms of all the other things you need to think about. You do have to put a plan in place. You can't just hand this over and start saying, do it. Got to put a plan in place. Last thing on that I want to talk about. I'm going to show you today that there's some add-ons that may be needed for some of the Microsoft products. This actually comes to security issues, whether or not certain things are enabled within your organization. There are plugins and add-ins that may need to be enabled organization-wide for some of these things to work. There are ways for users to do it themselves manually, and I'm going to show you that in a minute here. But do understand that there may be some rollout needed. There may need to be some changes to your overall O365 environment to allow some of these things to work, okay? They're not necessarily turned on by default in most organizations. This functionality you have to enable, okay? Before we get into the demo, just some quick tips and tricks. This is a hard one to swallow, I know. Deliver to your audience, not to your technical folks. I don't care if it's technically accurate. If they can't use it, if it doesn't meet their needs, then it's a failure. Plain and simple, right? If it doesn't meet their business needs, it doesn't work. Keep your reports small and tight and well-designed for all device types. There's going to be plenty of people who might now be using these things on tablets and phones. They might be loading it up onto a 12-inch screen. They might be loading it up onto a 7-inch screen. Got to think about that. Going back to Valentine's point about having a nice dashboard with shortcuts. Keep it well designed. And good old Donna in HR, let's make sure we're matching the right technology with the user skills. Okay? If Donna has been using Excel for the last 35 years and is very comfortable in Excel, don't force her to use something else. Adapt to her, not the other way around. You're going to make an ally instead of an enemy. Okay. Are we ready for the demos? Is everybody doing good? Let's get into the demo. So first off, I want to show you what we're going to be using today. Not my great pyramid. I made a pyramid the other day. That you'll see this one in February. That's a little February one. So the data we're going to be using today comes from our Advisor group. And for those of you who are not familiar with Advisor is an affiliate company of Senturus, and they are focused on delivering cloud cost management software, cloud governance consulting. And with Advisor, it allows you to get some good data insights for cloud optimization. Anyone who might be interested in that, here is a link to our Advisor business. The platform allows companies to have full control, to be able to have their sensitive data, but bring it through in Power BI. And again, if you'd like to get onto our calendar to discuss any of the stuff that I'm talking about today, here is, come on, mouse. Here's a link to get on a calendar. Okay. So we're looking at, you can see here some Amazon Web Service usage. We got our refund adjustments. We got our commitment, got our on-demand usage. This is the kind of thing you want to share, isn't it? This is the kind of thing that you want to get out to the masses. So let's look at what's available for us. So first off, can we make this any easier? There's a share. Literally, there's a share. I can copy the link, I can mail it, I can drop it into Teams, I can PowerPoint it, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking more about this. Being able to embed, being able to export, being able to move it somewhere else. Okay. When we go to File, we can embed it. When we go to Export, we can take it into Excel, we can take it into PowerPoint, we can do a PDF. Let's start with PowerPoint. So you notice we have two options here. Embed an image, embed live data. Well, embedding an image is no big deal. Okay. We can do the current page, we can use current values, we can take default values, we can get rid of hidden report tabs, whatever we want. So what it's doing is it's creating a lovely little PPT file for me. This is the fun part of today, by the way, gang, is I try to make things go as fast as possible, right? We're already at 2:30, but hey, we're always limited to the speed of, we do what we can. I hope everybody who is in, yes, I see that. Okay, so there it is. It's ready to go. And look at this. It created a whole PowerPoint for me. Tells me when it's refreshed. Because I'm in a dark theme, it gave me a theme here. But look, just like we were just talking, Valentine, I've got a link to go right out into Power BI. Okay. You just want to hear me, Chris, just stall for time. I'm good at it. I'm really good at it. And then we get to our second slide. And again, this is a link. This is a link. I can click on any of these and I can get right out there. But this is static. This isn't live. It took my report as it was at that moment in time and built a PowerPoint for me, which that in itself is pretty cool. I'm not going to pretend like it's not, okay? It's always nice to have things done for us. Indira, no, I got plenty of time. Don't worry. Thank you, though. That's why we have chat with Pat sessions, so we can go deeper into these with no time constraint. But what if I wanted this to be live? What if I wanted this to be a live data? So now I'm going to show you a couple different things here. And this is going to play to the point of what I was talking about earlier about needing to make sure that you have the right security and the right plugins, okay? I want you to all pay attention. So if I go to open in PowerPoint, it's going to try to open my local copy of PowerPoint. And notice that I get an error. Okay. So my organization does not have this add-on manually enabled right now. So this is something that needs to be done at the IT level. But there are ways that you can work around this. Okay. Now here's where everything better go the way I want it to go. So here I am at my O365. Okay. Here we are here. You can see I've been playing around with this. I can come here to PowerPoint. Okay. Blank presentation. And I can go to, come on, get add-ins. Okay. Before I do that, I want to do something else. Let's clear this. Let's make sure I have a real blank. I want to make sure I have a real blank. Okay. What is this? Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go to get add-ins, more add-ins. Dooby-dooby-dooby-doo. Oh, the fun part. You know, some of my colleagues like to pre-record these. I like doing it live. It's much more fun. So again, you see that my administrator has not installed any web add-ins. Well, from Microsoft, you can get the add-ins yourself. So what I've got here, right here, Microsoft Power BI.xml. This is from Microsoft. This is for Office. This is the actual XML. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to upload that. Okay. So look at this now, gang. This is much different, isn't it? And when I come back over here and I go to export PowerPoint and I copy that URL, come on. Now I've got a live report in here. This is no longer static. This is live. If this changes, if this is refreshed, this is live, gang. Tell me this is pretty nifty. How cool is that? Steven? So I got a couple questions coming in, so let's pause for a second here. I have not had any problem with slideshow on these. So I'm not sure what's going on with yours. Okay. But yeah, you can see that this, for me, in presentation mode is still live. So that I don't know. That may be something more with security or something along those lines. Okay. So I'm getting things in both windows, gang. This is normally why I turn the chat off. But again, you saw that, Stephen. There weren't any issues going in there. Larissa, assuming that the link is still valid in terms of the report or the workspace hasn't moved, and in terms of the data set not being moved or anything along those lines, or security being changed, there should be no problem a month from now going in and seeing that. Okay. That shouldn't cause you any problems. Aaron, I don't know what's changed since beta, but what you see is what we've got available to us now. And there's also a question about being able to select multiple features, multiple filters. So if I go here, I can use my control key. So I can select multiple if I so desire. Okay. I think I hit on everything. Alex, I haven't done an app, but if we have time, I can do the app and test the app for you. But I can say that the multiple filters does work for you. Okay. All right. And thank you all for these questions, because what that says is that you're all excited about this. And you all see, as Chris said, the possibilities, because I'm going to show you something else. Look at this. Even from here, I can present this in Teams. My left side slide is, oh yeah, what it's showing here in the preview. Yeah, I found that too, that the preview doesn't necessarily update. But that also could be because of things that I have blocked. There's a million answers for that one, Alex. Other Alex. I got two Alexes asking questions. Yeah, I don't see anything in my preview window. I don't know if that's because of the plugin, because I'm not using any PowerPoint objects. So the question would be, hey, what if we resize this? What if we add in a text box, right? So now when we do that, when we use a PowerPoint object, then yeah, we see it over here in our preview window. The add-in doesn't show in the preview though. Okay. Just something to be aware of. Now, what I could do if I really wanted to is I could maybe put a box behind this so I could see in my preview window what's on there. These are the types of aesthetic and design decisions you want to start thinking about and talking about. But let's just go back to my earlier scenario. It's Monday morning. You worked hard on Friday night. You left feeling good. Now, when you go into that board meeting on Monday and Bob tries to do Bob kind of things, I see you. I'm calling you out, Bob. All right. We have our Bob on this, so I'm calling Bob out. When Bob says, we reran the reports over the weekend, you could say, I know. This is live data. Go have another bagel, Bob. Okay. All right. Bob just got me back, everybody, so you know. That's all right. So this is the one that I think has the biggest impact. This and the SharePoint one. The Excel one, let's go back to this and take a look at Excel. Okay. Let's take a look at Excel. Excel is probably the easiest for most people because it's right here. Analyze in Excel. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff here that nobody really ever takes the time to look at, right? Generate a QR code, chat in Teams, which I'm going to get to in a second. Copilot Come to my presentation in February. We're going to use this button a lot. Ooh. Okay. Florentino, you can do just the current page, and you can have multiple slides based on the pages. So that way you can take an entire workbook. If you had 10 different slides in a work, or 10 different pages in a workbook, and turn around and make that a 10-page slideshow. Okay. You've been around long enough. So analyze in Excel. What is that going to do for me? So let's create this Excel file. Let's do it. Yes, yes. I know I'm unsafe. I'm always unsafe. Take a look at this, gang. With one click, I've now opened this up. Come on, always go. Here's my entire data set. Okay, here's everything I need. I already made one of these in advance so I can know exactly which ones to use. So I'm going to take Bob, where's build cost under measures? Cost and usage, right? Bob is my advisor. Use the search. Use the search, Luke. So I'm going to take that. Come on. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it on my columns. All right, come on. That's why I didn't want to use a search. At least the dialog boxes have gotten more friendly over the years. This is live, Chris. Hence the still working on it, because I'm going back to that data set. And again, that's the cool part about this. All right. It's not liking me right now. I'm going to leave the page. I'm going to try that again. I'm probably going to kill that data set, Bob. So let's hope that I don't cause a problem. Let's try this one more time. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my build cost, drop it in my values. I'm going to go to my cost and usage. I'm going to take my charge category, drop it here in my columns, and drop in my charge subcategory. I'm going to go to my resource, service, take my service, put it on the rows. Voila. Give me an ooh and an ah, gang. I've created a report from the data set in a tool that I'm familiar with, that I can turn around and I can now share, that I can copy the link, that I can share this. Look at this. Think about this. Think about the people being able to share these things, these people being able to use tools that they're familiar with. So for the, and thank you, that's a good point, Bob. I'll bring that up. So there's another way to do it. If you start this in Excel and you go to, oh, look at that, data from Power BI, again, live data, then I can have the option to do a normal table versus a pivot. but I would wager that you're going to have a lot of users who love doing things in pivot tables, who love being able to see this, who love being able to have all this option available to them. Okay. In Indira, you're right. We are in a way going back to those SSAS cubes. But again, because it's all integrated together, because it's all under one roof, because it's all under one platform, because it's all under the Fabric and O365 world, yeah, we don't have to deal with ODBC drivers. We don't have to deal with all these things. And if you're somebody who's just trying to create reports, if you're somebody who's just trying to look at data, if you're a data analyst, you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to have to deal with ODBC connections. Add something on the filter section. What would be good to add to the filter section, Bob? Well, I mean, I guess I could put charge category on there if I really wanted to. So now I've got this up here. So now I can do my filter. Valentine, is that what you wanted to see? The calendar year wouldn't return anything in this data set. This is a very small controlled data set for this purpose. So I just went ahead and put charge category on there. Okay. But yeah, you can put it on filters. All right, we got about 10 minutes left, gang. So let's take a look at some other stuff. Now, there is one thing. I'm going to go to SharePoint next. Okay. I got to make sure I got the right app for this. Bookmark that. All right, while I'm waiting to, well, I need to figure that out. Let's go ahead and let's start up Teams. Let's take a look at Teams. I'm going to start my Teams. Where are you? There you go. Hello. There you are, right in front of my face. So I can share these things in Teams. Here's my Teams. Yes, yes, thank you. Have a nice day. I've got all my windows, but I want to show something first. When you go to apps in Teams, you can integrate Power BI directly in here. Okay, so this was something that was made. What? Oh, wait. This was a comment that was made earlier. I can get right to Power BI from within Teams. I can have it installed as an app in here. You can see I have a number of apps, including Copilot, things like that. But by having the Power BI one here, I can get right to that report. Okay. I can get right here. And I'm still within my Teams world, but then I can also, I can send direct links. So here's one that I sent directly from, I sent it the other day. And look at that. Straight from Teams into here. So I can take this, come back here. I can go back to my share. Okay. Send this to myself. I can open it, subscribe to it. Boom. There it is. Look at that. Boom. So again, we're getting our people in a tool that they're already comfortable using, in a tool that they're used to, in a tool that they probably work with every day, okay? But we're also starting to get them familiar with the Power BI service. And again, if we're giving them a nice link to a dashboard, if we're giving them a way to do this, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, one last one I want to show you, which is the SharePoint integration. Where the heck did that go? I just showed it the other day. Really did. Honestly, I did. Come on. That's not what I want. I promise I'll get you there. It's the one I want. So here I am on my SharePoint. Let's get this out of here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add new. Oh, this is what I want. Steve, where did it go? Gosh golly, where did that page go? I just showed you the other day. I'm sorry, gang. I lost where I had my link to putting this into SharePoint. But I can create a new SharePoint page. Did I get it? Wait, did I find new? Aha. Pages. New site page. Trying to go to. Aha, thank you. I found it. Haha. I'm not going to let you all down. So I could add a web part to my page. And in my web part, I can add Power BI. So I created a new page. I told you I wouldn't let you down. Indira, I saw your question. I'll give you a response to that in a second. So I'm going to paste to that same one I had before. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. I can add a title to this. This is the same one you just saw me put into PowerPoint. But now I can make it a web part right on my SharePoint page, and then I could publish this out if I want. Tell me that's pretty cool too. And all the things we were just talking about, you know, being able to make this live, being able to use the filters, being able to change things. Thank you, Aaron. I can put this all right here on a SharePoint page. I can also turn off navigation. So there are different things. I can show the filter pane. So Valentine and other folks who asked about filtering before. Okay. Thank you, Valentine. We try to be cool. I can also turn off the navigation if I had multiple pages on here. And I can turn off the action bar. Even though this is live data, maybe I just want them consuming. Okay, that's something to think about. What are we doing here? Oh, don't. So I can, okay, go away. If I turn the action bar on or off, I can limit. So we talked about security earlier. So by turning the action bar on and off, I can limit who might be able to do certain things with this. But if I leave the action bar on, oh, look, now I'm giving my users the ability to continue this sharing, to pay it forward, if you will, because that same SharePoint user can now go to Analyze in Excel. That same SharePoint user can now go to PowerPoint. They can create a PDF. Again, it's all connected. It's all one big world. To me, I really like this. I like the fact that I can go to all of these different places from one location. But of course, we have security concerns. You know, maybe we don't want somebody being able to download a file. Maybe we don't want them embedding it somewhere else. So fine. I can turn the action bar off. I can have a consumer version of this page, and I can have a power user version of this page. 2 different pages, 2 different options. And then when I go to publish, boom, I'm out there and I'm cool. All right, we're 2:55. We are right where I want to be. I hope you enjoyed that demo. So let's talk about this. We can use this and share it with everybody in the organization. And we're trying to meet the needs of our users, not the needs of our technical folks. Take advantage of their knowledge. They know how to use Excel. They know how to use Teams. They know how to use PowerPoint. Let them be free in that. Because you know what? They might show you something that you didn't see. They might uncover data that you didn't see. Okay? You might see something new and exciting this way. Somebody may be able to, you get a fresh set of eyes. Durade, come to my presentation in February. Come on, I gotta make you want to come back. We're going to talk all about Copilot in February. All right. So again, meet their needs. So speaking of these things, if you want to start getting more into this, if you want to start getting more into moving into a fabric world, into a situation where things are all connected and everything else, we've got a fabric, we've got a fabric workshop. You can sign up to that. You can also get on our calendars, talk to us, sign up for things. We also have a comparison of Microsoft Analytics tools. We're updating it for 2024. It is still just January. We're getting there. We've got a lot to do, but we're going to have it updated for 2024, which is going to include some fun things like AI. We do have a new version that is starting to introduce Fabric. We're going to get the Copilot stuff in there. By the time you get to it, all this stuff will be in there. We want you to come to our Senturus website. We've got hundreds of free resources, things other than comparisons. We've got product demos. We've got blogs. We've got more about all this stuff. Go to senturus.com/resources for all this and more. Upcoming events. AI in BI. Impacts to Power BI, Cognos, and Tableau. Durage, you want to talk about Copilot? Here you go. Okay. We're gonna have that on February 8th, 11 a.m. Wow, that's right around the corner. I thought it was later in the month. So thank you, Aaron. Thank you all. You can register. Mario, if you're still out there, senturus.com/events. Get out there, register for it. Again, we can do an in-person workshop. Get on our calendar, talk to us about doing an in-person workshop on Fabric and getting you all set up on that. Hey, before I let you go, I got my Senturus explanation. We provide a full spectrum of analytics services and enablement. Proprietary software to help accelerate bimodal BI and migrations. We're good at hybrid stuff, gang. We can help you with migrations. If you are new to Power BI, if you're coming off of other tools, talk to us. We're here to help no matter how big or small your project is. We're here. We've been doing this for 23 years, 1,400 clients, 3,000 projects. Some of you on this are right here, right now. You're our biggest testimonial. Okay. If there's something I didn't answer, info@senturus.com. I'll be happy to answer it. Larissa, I saw that you put a question in there. I got this from Microsoft, so I really don't have a problem. I'm going to drop it into the chat. I don't know if that'll work or not. So I just dropped the XML that I used for that add-in right into chat. So Adira. So the XML file, which I just put into chat, Adira, is the one that I got from Microsoft. Basically, it allows for local usage of uploading your own add-in. It's the XML for the PowerPoint add-in. Okay. If there's anything else, send it to info@senturus.com. And hey, thank you all very much. Thank you for all of you who made it all the way to the end. As always, I appreciate you giving me time out of your day. Get the heck out of here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. And again, if you want to talk more, I'll be doing a chat with Pat again in the near future. We're doing the AI one on February 8th. Thank you all very, very much. Get on our calendars, email us, stay in touch. Have a wonderful time, everybody.